like you, mademoiselle. It's so fresh, it's so new that you enjoy your meal. There's nothing I would rather do than move around just like
Well, it's one of the best audiences I've ever
How are you
had in
into
my life.
autographs? I'm sorry, but I have to ask.
Autographs,
They're your
well.
fans. I wouldn't send them away.
50? I'll
Yeah.
see 50.
You will see
I'll
50?
see 50.
50?
Yeah. 50.
And what should I do? Is it does bother so I put them in slowly and here?
Yeah, if you just bring them in like
Quietly
a
and
couple
slowly.
at a time, and I'll sit here and do it, you know?
No, we can do.
Well, position with me is I haven't got any prepared questions. I just come and we'll chat. It's up. You get
That's
anything you
cool,
want to ask?
man. Let's just relax. And
Yeah. If you get some questions,
I've been listening to biographies down in the car.
great. So, well, I know my
Your
background.
music for so many years. You know.
I'll let you go,
But,
man.
just today, how committed are you to music? Because there seems to be so many faces of Leonard Cohen.
Well, I've always, you know, kept it going. I always had a guitar, and you know, I think I'll always be into it. Whether they'll be into it is another question that is in the hands of other powers than my own.
It looks like they will, man.
But you know, tonight was nice, but of course you can't depend on that forever. But you know, I've always sung a little song.
That was an immensely long set. You know, it was so refreshing. I mean, I've never.
Yeah, they were. Well, you know, you create that with the audience. You know, I mean, they do that and you do that, and if there's an understanding, you can get it going. You know, but that's all a matter of grace. You know, it's a matter of grace. I mean, it's not, there's nobody's virtue is involved, not the entertainers. And, you know, it just happens or it doesn't happen.
And your songwriting. The thing that's always interested me is that your music is so much poetry in a musical context. Where do you draw the line between what appears on the printed page in book form and what goes into a song?
Well, I generally leave that to the critics, but you know, there is a kind of you know, there's certain words that belong on the page, and there's certain words that belong in the air, and that's about it.
You took risks tonight, I think, yeah?
Rest?
I think you took risks tonight. I've seen you before.
Yeah.
The last time it was fairly controlled. We got the new album. Tonight, there's one new song, I think. Are you going to put it out as a single or something?
Yeah, we put down the basic track in when we were in Germany.
Yeah.
And because people seem to like it.
What's the song called?
That's Do I Have to Dance All Night?
Yes.
Was that a hint to them? Was it?
It was so great when you say yes and they say you know,
Yeah.
you say yes and they say yes. I mean, that's what, you know, you live for that kind of experience.
It's a while since I've seen you reading poetry during the thing. Is that back again? Maybe I'm just seeing you.
Yeah.
Gigs you didn't.
Well, I never did it too much, but I got such a great band here, you know, and they can just, you know, even if I fall on my face in the middle of a poetry reading, they can keep the thing moving.
And a rock
Is that very
feel to it now, didn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe you're trying for the 12-year-olds now.
No, I'm not trying for
12-year-old
anything. I
girls.
just feel like boogieing myself a bit, you know.
The poetry, does that vary every night? Is that
Yeah, I just kind of thumb through the book and see what comes out. I always get a little nervous there. You can see my hand shaking a bit, but you know,
is that a train of thought you get in the state?
you try to, you know, you try to tune in to the audience.
Are you writing much new stuff just now? What are you doing here?
Well, I finished a novel
Oh, yeah.
a couple of months ago, and I gave it to my publishers, and at the last moment I took it back. I thought, you know, it was like about my family. So I thought, you know, why punish them, because it just sort of gave the bad side of things, which everybody can write about. I didn't think it was all that accurate, so I pulled it out. But you know, it took me a couple of years to write. So
What was it called?
it was called Notes for the Clean Life.
What's that,
Yeah.
first 8 years or something, is it?
No, it was just about you know, about living with a woman and having children and all that whole scene.
How do you regard doing this sort of thing here?
Pardon?
How do you regard doing this sort of thing here? I mean, what?
Well, you know, this is the kind of thing that you live for when you're on the road. You know, these things don't happen every night. Sometimes it really takes off, and it, you know, it just picks everybody up. I mean, everybody goes home happy. You know, the people and the band, You know, that's what it's all about.
Do you like doing interviews at the moment? It just seems to be. Is it the
I'll
same
say I don't
questions?
mind it. I don't mind it because, especially around when we're doing like one gig every night in a different town, you never get to speak to anybody. You know, and I've always just regarded that as like.
Autographs.
Well, yeah, well, let's wait till this is over,
Yeah,
okay?
Well, do you want to stop this and start it again?
No,
or
no,
do you want to just
no,
stop
no,
it?
No, that's going to go a long
Ah,
time.
I thought so, yeah.
50 autographs is going to take at least an hour.
Yeah.
Signing.
Back to the writing again. One thing that strikes me again is the length of time it takes for you to complete.
Yeah. Well,
much
I
of
wish
what
I
you
could do
write.
it faster, but I just don't seem to be able to.
Is this a... How do you continue it? Because it seems that some songs, you know, the notes you've written above them,
Yeah.
they seem to take you
Yeah.
years and years and years.
I'm afraid
what,
they do.
What way do you... What sort of thought process goes behind such a elongated...
Well, it just seems to take me a long time to get it right. You know, you get a snatch of a melody, you get a snatch of a lyric, you put them together, and you know you're onto something, and then nothing seems to come, and then you're working on another song, and you have maybe 8 or 10 songs going like that, and it just seems, the process just seems very long to me, you know. That doesn't necessarily mean they got to be good, you know. Some people can write a great song in an afternoon. It just takes me a long time to get it together. I don't know why.
Right there, and you play the first few bars, you sing the first few bars, and suddenly applause.
Yeah.
Does that bother you? Does it not get a rhythm?
Well, it can't bother
What are these
me,
people,
you know,
you know,
because,
that-
I mean, these are people that have been with you, and, you know, they've listened to your songs in
Yeah.
their rooms, and have lived with the music, you know, I mean.
So you regard the thing as it's a
Oh,
recognition, isn't it?
yeah. Completely.
The thing that struck me so much now is I don't think I've ever been to a concert where I've felt so involved with the artist and his words. It seems to touch. You seem,
Yeah, I felt that with
you
them
seem to
too.
touch audiences, right?
Well, it doesn't always happen like that, but, you know, I mean, Scotland is something else, too, you know.
Because they beat England today,
It's not
hasn't it?
England, you know.
Well,
It's
this
not
is the
England.
kind of the reaction tonight is normally associated with rock concerts. In fact,
Yeah.
that kind of reaction. So
Uh-huh.
it says something very special.
The Stones didn't get it.
Yeah, it says something very special that an artist of your
Right,
caliber,
right.
your style, can get such a response.
Oh, it was great, you know. I don't want to, you know, it's just like a good thing. You don't want to point at it too much, it may go away.
And another thing that's interesting me is that your music is so perfectly suited to sort of, as a backdrop to your lyrics. How did that evolve? Did you set out to
God, I
find
wish I
a
knew
form
how it
which...
was. I wish I knew how to do it. I'd do it more often, you know. It just worked, man. You know.
You've changed it though, of course, recently. The last
Well, it all
album's a bit more.
changes, you know. It
changes,
changes, sure. You can't keep doing the
Yeah.
same thing every time, you know.
What people do you listen to? Music?
Well, I'm often on the road and I don't have a tape, you know, I don't carry a tape recorder or anything, so I listen to the radio a lot, you know, and then I listen to classical music a lot, but I listen to just the people that everybody listens to, you know.
Remember you called Dylan the great genius of the generation.
Oh yeah, I think he's a great.
What about people like Paul Simon,
Great
Don
spirit.
McLean? I'm thinking of singer-songwriters. Do you
Yeah.
relate? There's any relation there?
Sure, I always listen to them, and you know, those guys are good. I mean, what can you say about them? They're pros, and they turn out great stuff. Sometimes it's something that's really outstanding, but it's all up to a level of you know, touches and shows and those things.
That mention of
They're
Janis
precious.
Joplin surprised me a lot tonight. I didn't anticipate the song being ended like Janis Joplin, and
Yeah.
a lot of the words suddenly looked a different way. Did her music mean anything, or was it as a person?
Oh,
was this somebody
both,
who...
both. You know, I mean, I can't. As I say, I mean, as I say in the last verse of the song, I don't mean to suggest I love you the best.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew her. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't know her like she wasn't my best friend or anything, but I knew her, and I bumped into her often in hotels around the States. You know, but I love her music.
I'm a beer man. Thanks. I think it's you were making remarks there. It sounded to me, for what it matters, as though it was an honesty of Janis Joplin that impressed you.
Yeah, there's something in her voice that is unmistakable. I mean, I remember I was at this motel with her in Los Angeles. I think it was called the Landmark Motel. And she was given an award by one of those magazines like Melody Maker, like some American equivalent of Melody Maker. I think it was Downbeat or something like that, you know. And I was there when they handed her the plaque, and she was just like a kid. You know, she'd gotten this prize for the best woman singer of the year, and she was like, you know, Christmas. I mean, it was like real thing. I mean, she was there.
It's the phony. Your remark about the phoniness that's there in rock, and in this business. I mean, I don't know if you notice it. Where you go, you have people trying to get in and busting in a line or whatever
Uh-huh.
around, you know. So I suppose that it's the compensation of doing something like tonight, where it's a straight mate between you and
Oh,
people
it's
who aren't
great.
imposing.
That's what it's for.
Have you always seem to have been well out of the mainstream of the whole rock world?
Seem to
You
be
seem
a
to make
little.
forays into it, but you're...
Well, you know, I have my own way. That's all I can say about it.
Are the questions the same as you were being asked 10 years ago?
Not really, no. No, you know. To me, the great thing is that, you know, the music is still alive. People are still interested in it, you know, the songs I wrote. And, you know, some of the people out there, when I wrote Suzanne, they were maybe 10 years old, you know. I mean, it's a great thing for a writer to feel that his songs have just stayed around for a little while.
Are they still as close to you? Because they're obviously very, very personal.
Well, I never. Oh, yeah, they are. Yeah. Well, that's what it is, you know. And I mean, you can't fake it. You know, some nights you lose it, and some nights you get it back. You know. I mean, the audience is the first to know if you're faking it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
You wrote things like Suzanne as a... You write something personal, it comes out of you, you put it down. It must be, I think, gratifying to get people to say, hey, that's something that touched me. But yeah, that means you must be able to put meaning back into every night that you go out there.
That's what you do it for. But as I say, sometimes it doesn't work.
Do you drop them in that case? Or do you just...
Well, sometimes I'll drop a song if it doesn't seem to open to me. You know,
Nancy
like-
seemed open tonight.
Yeah, Nancy seemed to open tonight. Like a couple of nights ago, it didn't. Like last night, none of them opened.
Where were you last night?
Sheffield.
Sheffield.
And that's a very warm audience. They're okay, you know. I mean, I don't mean they booed us or anything. I mean, they like the thing, but I don't know, maybe it's just because we've been on the road for so long and we were so tired. But,
How long has this tour been going on?
well, it's been on for about a month and a half now, but it's been very rigorous. It's almost a different gig. It's okay, Laura, you can come if you want. Stay or come, whatever you feel like.
And how much further have you got to go?
Oh, we got another couple of months to go.
Yeah. Worldwide, is it?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, not, you know, Europe anyway.
And it was just when you were saying that. Yes, when you're writing, how honest can you be in your songs? Do you ever write a thing and say, well, I couldn't sing this on a stage because it's too close to me? Do you have to be a bit distant from a song before you can sing it? Do you ever experience?
You got to use the two sides of your nature, you know. You got to use, you know, I mean, that's what they call the craft of it. I mean, you got to, I mean, there's a difference between somebody just screaming and somebody speaking from the heart, and you know, and that difference we call craft or art or whatever you want to call it. You know, you got to keep all parts of you awake when you try to write something. You know?
I think you're attractive to many women. I think you're attractive to many women.
I'm attracted.
To women. Attractive
Oh, is that
to
right?
women. Yes, not attracted. I know you're attracted as well. But
A lot of James.
attractive, yeah.
Well, who isn't?
Oh, attractive
Oh.
to James. That's
Well, I guess I like an older
it seems
man.
to
in their
influence
life.
your songs.
An older man in their life. Yeah.
Suppressed sexuality. And where, as an artist, do you go from here? Are there any?
Well, you know, you just keep on going is all, you know. There's one Ray Charles song they just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. You know, that's what writing is about. You just drop in to see what condition your condition's in.
I think you have made directions anyway. You have changed.
Yeah, you got to.
You've shifted, and
You
it's
got
good
to.
because to keep on doing the same old songs.
No, you can't
is-
do
is
it
not-
otherwise.
It's okay to do them sometimes.
Yeah. No, you got to change.
One slightly incongruous thing which struck everybody was when Greatest Hits came out, which seemed...
Oh, I had an argument about that. I wanted just to call it the best of or selected songs. And that's what it was called in America. It was called the best of.
Was it?
It's
called
special in the
best of.
continent, I think, isn't
Yeah.
it? So it's called special.
So, you know, here the greatest hits, well, that's crazy. None of them were hits.
I didn't know if it was I thought perhaps at the time it was a
I thought
tongue-in-cheek thing like Dylan's More Greatest Hits, which was another...
Yeah.
Do you
That's-
read? Do you read what the press write about you, the critics? Do you read A? Do you read B? Do you care?
Well, sometimes people show it to me, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've been either writing or putting out records for so long now that you get a pretty thick skin, you know, after a while. And after a while, something very curious happens, and that is the critic is on trial. Like when I read a guy, I read him.
Yeah.
How does he write? You know, how does he put his thoughts down? What is his mind like, you know? So the thing gets turned around. No, I can't say that. Ever since I read in the Rolling Stone a few years ago, I think it was a review of a concert I did in the Isle of Wight, they said, Leonard Cohen is a boring old drone. And go the fuck back to Canada where he belongs. You know, after you hear that kind of stuff, you know, what's somebody going to say?
The main criticism against you, I think, seems to be levelled. It seems to be A, depressing, and B, it's a faint praise that you're attractive to virgins and bedsitters and things like this, you know. What do you feel about that? Should a guy, is a guy entitled to criticise like that? And he is entitled because he does it, obviously. Is he entitled to do it without putting a condition, saying this is my view?
I'm not sure what
Right.
what you're trying to say.
These things come out. Okay, say I do a review of this.
Yeah.
And I say, oh, I'm going depressing. I'm not, but let's say I say depressing, you know what I mean? He's a funny little man, he comes out, he goes on and saying, oh,
Dirty
rubbish.
old man.
Yeah, he's a lecturer, whatever. He's a drone,
You can
nothing
say
new.
that.
I could say that. Yeah, but that's me and you, and I didn't like it much. Maybe I had to come along, but all these people liked it.
Yeah.
So is it fair? Is it unfair? What am I trying to say there? Do
Well,
you ever resent that when people say about you after you've had a good gig? That's what I get.
Well, there's one thing I always find curious. I can't say I resent it because I don't get too emotionally involved in criticisms. But sometimes, like, I'll go to a concert or I'll give a concert. I'll know that people are happy, you know, and like there'll be a review of the concert, and it will like be very damaging, and it will never mention anywhere along the line that the audience liked it.
Yeah.
You know, it will give the impression like that nobody liked it, including the critic,
Right.
when as in fact it was only the critic. I think a critic has to be fair if he's going to be good. He has to say, like, I didn't like it, but, like, the people seem to like it, you know. The reason I didn't like it was so-and-so,
Yeah.
and maybe the reason they liked it was so-and-so, you know. I think that would be fair, sure.
Right. Because I just noticed it doesn't happen a lot, you know. So.
Sure. I mean, I've read some pretty vicious criticisms of my stuff, because there's a certain critical establishment that doesn't like my stuff.
Oh, aye.
You know, it's quite clear, you know.
Have you been invited at all into the literary establishment? Because you have had...
No, they don't like me because
You won't
they think I'm in the rock world, you know.
Mhm.
And the rock people get a little suspicious because they think like I'm a literary person, you know. So I just as well,